right, everybody, we're back. We're back. I'm Jim Hobbs, and to my left or right is my carnivore co-host, Brian Damage Forsythe of the band Kix and Rhino Bucket. And it's just good to be back with you folks. For those who follow me on Facebook, you guys realize that I had they're calling it Winter Storm Frida, that came through, and in my specific area where Peggy and I live, Summer Duck, we got dumped on 16 inches of snow, which took down, ironically, we were doing the sauna Monday morning at 7:30 when the power went out. And we got 16 inches of snow dumped on us, and it was a very heavy snow. Never have I seen the trees so covered in snow. It was one of the most beautiful landscapes that I've ever witnessed. It was beautiful. But at 7:30 in the sauna, the power lines came down, our power went off. And then Monday afternoon, we were able to walk out to our private road. We realized we had a ton of trees. It looked like a war zone. The trees were just crossing the road. We had no way. It's the only road for us to get out to civilization. So our 3/4 mile road was totally unpassable.
Wow.
So, and then the power you expect to come on in a day or two. Day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and you're beginning to really wonder, are we going to get it back? So we did that afternoon, that Saturday afternoon, and had power back, and never have I appreciated power so much. But I have to tell everybody, it wasn't that bad. It was quiet. I mean, not hearing, you'd be surprised how much white noise is just by having appliances running in your house that you just come accustomed to. I mean, the quietness gave me a chance to read, meditate, and then cook out on the griddle, and it was awesome. I mean, for the most part, I actually enjoyed it, but I couldn't do that every day. It was nice to experience it, but it's nice to be returned back to 2022 and have power. So. Thanks for all the well wishes people sent my way during that time, and it's just good to be back with Brian and be back with you all and talk keto. But before we talk keto, Brian, I saw an announcement, Rhino Bucket. You guys had a European tour, so I understand that's been pushed back. Is that correct?
Yes. That happened probably 4 days out, before we had to leave. We had been, it started getting sketchy, because of this new variant that's out, and over in Europe they're having some issues, and we started hearing like France was starting to put like restrictions on stuff, and so a couple of our shows they were limiting capacity, and in France they were making it so you couldn't stand, you had to sit at a table, kind of like what they did over here for a while. And it's like basically a dinner club by that point. You're playing for people sitting at tables, but not only that, but there were other things that, like, every day it was changing, and so leading up to that, we kind of were starting to feel it, like something's, we were starting to wonder if it was going to happen.
Right.
And finally, I forget what the final straw was, but then it was confirmed by our booking agent. He was like, yeah, it's not looking good, and we might, we should probably just push it off another year. So that's what he was talking about pushing it off a few months, but I can't do it, because I have, the summer is like kick shows, and,
Right.
and there wouldn't be any time. So, we had to make it next January. And I'm, people are saying, oh, I'm so sorry that your tour got canceled. But you know what? I am so relieved. I was dreading that, especially with all the COVID stuff going on, because there were so many rules, so many like, you had to get a test before you get on the plane. You had to get a test when you get there, and this and that. And if anything went wrong and we had to quarantine or something, it would just throw everything off. And the other thing was, coming back from the tour, we had a day. We had one day. We get back, and then Rhino Bucket is supposed to play the pre-party for the cruise, and if that got thrown off, I mean, there was a chance that I wouldn't even make the cruise, and then I would screw Kix in the
Kicks.
process as well. So it was just the whole thing. It was really it was well, not only frustrating, but it was stressful. Just having to going into it. And I'm like, oh man, I just don't want to do this. And luckily now I don't have to. So it's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, because in this day and age, with the different countries and the different gigs and the different ways to get there, I mean, it would almost have to have been perfect to play out perfectly. And there's just not a perfect world out there. So
No.
I think that's probably the best decision.
Well, yeah, actually, the final straw was Reeve had tested positive like a week or so before
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and then within that, the following week, his whole family ended up with it, and and he went and got retested and was still positive, and that was like less than 5 days out, and it was like there's no way he's going to be able to even quarantine before we get there. So that we at that point we had to cancel it.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was speaking to a doctor friend of mine just the other day, um, and I didn't know this, but they say if you've had COVID, like Reeves tested positive, that he very well could test positive for the next 90 days, even though he's not, he no longer has it. It's just because those antibodies are in your system, and you could test positive for the next 90 days.
You know what? I did hear that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. So if that happened, I mean, you guys could have might have made it through the first leg of your trip, but then the next leg he would have tested positive, and they go, "Sorry, but you can't go on this plane." And then you guys are just standing around going, "What?" So
Right.
yeah, so it probably is. I know you're relieved, and so I'm happy that you're relieved, and I'm sure everybody who's planning to attend the Monster Rock and the pre-party are excited that definitely now should take place, considering the fact there's no logistical probabilities that you won't make and be there on time.
Well, I'll be there, but hopefully the boat will still happen.
Yeah, because they're canceling cruise lines now. That's the other downer.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, it's a different world that we live in now, and so we just have to adapt, deal with it, and realize that whatever's going on out there, there's a lesson in there for us, and it's for our good. So let's take the
Well,
good out of it.
right, right. Yeah, it's like you can't really plan ahead anymore, so it sort of forces you to live in the moment or in the day at least.
Yeah, and I think, and I truly believe that's how we all should be living. So the fact that we're living in the moment, living but each breath, I think only positive things, and I think positive things are coming out from that. I think people are reevaluating their priorities and understanding what's important to them, and I'm seeing a lot of changes in a lot of people. So
Mhm.
yeah, so
I Yeah, I've always said that too. It's like usually the things that you perceive as the worst thing turns out to be the best thing. So,
yeah, I think it's going to be good. You know, for me, it gave me an understanding of some stuff that I needed to plan better for in case we lose power. But but it also gave me a time to just do a lot of reflection. So and meditation, which is not a bad thing. But one of the things I was talking to Brian before we started recording the show was I had cooked a prime rib when I got back from Nashville, and I did the reverse sear method. And I tell you, Brian gave me this reverse sear method that I've been using, and I just love it. So I was going to continue to do it, but I did a piece of prime rib, seasoned it really well. I mean, it had fresh rosemary on it, salt, pepper, and did the reverse sear, but man, I cut into it. It looked beautiful. I posted pictures on Facebook. Looked beautiful, medium rare, and yet zero flavor. Like we had to go grab the Redmond salt and put it on every bite, like that time we were at the retreat and putting your little salt on every little chocolate cookie, Brian. So Peggy and I are sitting there taking a fork, putting a little salt on it, having a bite, and it's Redmond salt does make everything taste better. I will vouch for that.
Yeah, at least you have that,
But it wasn't the normal flavor that I expect from, slow cooking a prime rib or reverse sear method. I was thoroughly disappointed. But with that being said, I was telling Brian that today I know some other of our keto family. I know Maria and Linda. I don't know who else is out there doing a 72-hour fast, but mine concludes today. So I think I got 6 more hours or 5 hours, somewhere's in there. And then my 72-hour water fast. I've never gone without coffee during that time. I've always fasted with coffee. I've done coffee in the morning. This time it's total water. That's all I've had is water.
No headache? No headaches?
No. I mean, I have decaf coffee anyway, so I don't.
Okay.
So I'm not addicted. Caffeine. I don't drink the coffee for the caffeine. It's strictly for the warmth and for the flavor and the taste. So yeah, no headaches at all. So hopefully in a few hours, my 8-hour sous vide prime rib. Have you ever sous vide prime rib for 8 hours, Brian?
I've not done the whole primer. I've reheated it that way, but I don't have the capacity to do something that big.
Okay. Yeah, this is a 3-pound, so it's not a real big. It's probably a 2-bone rib roast. So I'm doing it for 8 hours. That should break down everything, and then I'm gonna to sear it either on the griddle, or in the oven. I haven't decided which. Depends on weather, I guess. But I will report back next week, or I'll be posting pictures on my Facebook page that you guys can go back to, since this show won't air till Friday, to see how it turned out. But I'll give you the honest assessment, whether it's no flavor again, or if it tastes like the way I want it to. Hopefully that it will taste. So either way, I will report the outcome of it. But I want to tell you a story. This is funny, Brian. I was thinking of you when I did it. For some reason, I woke up one morning, and I have no idea why, but I had a craving for instant iced tea with lemon. Lipton iced tea. Instant. I don't know why. I just had it. I haven't probably had that in, I would say, 40 years. I mean, that's been that long. I just had a craving for it. So I kept telling Peggy, I said, I just got a craving for instant iced tea from Lipton with lemonade. So she's like, why would you want that? And I said, I don't know. So anyway, I drove to the store, was in Walmart. I finally found it, and I picked it up. One of them had 100 different chemicals in it. So I said, well, I'm not having that one. I picked up one that just had, it said non-GMO green tea leaves and cereulose. And I'm like, so I Googled cereulose, which the side effect of cereulose, it kills 50% of your good bacteria in your gut. And I said, nope, I put that back. So I could not in good conscience ingest that into my body. So I didn't buy it. And I told Peggy, I said, and I feel so bad for these people who go out there and they purchase these products that's destroying your gut. And as you're fully aware, your gut is where the majority of your immune system, your health is in your outlook on life really is in your gut.
They say that is really your brain.
Yeah.
That controls your brain.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was reading Costco Connection magazine. I don't know if you can see that or not, or if it's just, let me see if I can, just not going to come on. There we go.
Oh,
there he is. So Costco magazine actually had an article, which was kind of surprisingly, about gut health. Let's see if it'll pull up. Wow, it just will not focus. Anyway, it
Little
says
guy.
gut health, your health, the ecosystem known as the microbiome affects every system in your body. And so it literally goes on to explain. Now, the reason I'm bringing this article up because it's what's recommended at the end of this article for your gut. They understand that your gut's very important. As Brian has said, that the gut really is your brain. And it really is, you want to increase your immune system, maximize your health, then take care of your gut. So, if you want to live long, make sure you eat the right or put the right fuels in your body to maximize your immune system and your outlook on life. And that is through making your gut as strong as possible. Now, the problem is the way the article ends. It says, and you'll laugh at this, Brian. It says, beyond diet, practice ways to reduce stress. Plant a garden, play with your animal companions, spend time in nature, relax and chew your food thoroughly at meals, exercise regularly, get a good night's sleep, practice yoga, meditation, or abdominal breathing, build relationships, practice positive self-talk, start your day in gratitude, but eat an array of organic fruit, organic vegetables, and organic meat products. It says add fiber to your diet. It does says eliminate high fructose corn syrup. Try a largely plant-based diet such as the Mediterranean diet. Avoid refined sugars and processed foods and hydrated fats. But that's the part I don't understand. They say that, which I agree with, but then they tell you eat the plant-based diet, which is nothing more than processed food to get to that plant-based protein that they have. Add fiber to your diet. Enjoy healthy fats such as olive oil. Choose fermented foods rich in probiotics. Drink filtered water and eliminate gluten and observe has your symptoms improve.
I think technically the Mediterranean diet, it's not vegetarian. I think it includes. It's just a lot of vegetables involved, but it includes meat,
right,
and fish.
But the reality of it is they're just talking about how there's a statistic. Here it is. Roughly 75% of the immune system resides in the gut walls. You are in a position to reverse disease trends once you understand its influence on the circular feedback loops inside all of us. Neurologist Dr. Perlmutter says that in the past, the brain was considered separate from the other body parts. In reality, the brain's function is intimately dependent on output provided by the gut's microbiome.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, here, actually, after reading that gut book,
right,
that we have, you can handle, say like a Mediterranean diet where you have vegetables and all that stuff. If your gut is healthy, like it's not good to just start there if your gut's all screwed up.
Right.
You have to get it right first before it can handle stuff like that. But myself, I know I could never handle something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, well, how do I get myself right? How do I reset? One of the ways you can reset is doing what Maria and Linda and I are doing this week. I've done this week actually. It's a 72-hour fast. And so there's a lot of benefits that comes with fasting. I also want to just make sure that you understand that during a 72-hour fast, you definitely want to remain hydrated. You want to drink water all the time to hydrate yourself. And part of that fasting process, and when you come out of that I'm going to go over the benefits here in a second, but when you come out of that 72-hour fast, it's important that you give your gut a good foundation right out of the gate. And the best thing you can put in your gut after that is bone broth, protein, or non-starchy, non-cruciferous vegetables. So that's what they recommend. Now, for me, I'm going to do bone broth and a prime rib. So there's my protein and bone broth. And so those are the things. But the tips to survive a 72-hour fast is definitely stay hydrated, stay busy, ease hunger pains with black coffee, they say, and break your fast gently and slowly. Now, the benefits, this is the benefits of resetting your body of doing a 72-hour fast. Uh, your blood glucose, your cholesterol, your DNA repair, heart health, autophagy, immune system function, insulin sensitivity, longevity, and weight loss. Um, those are a lot of positive benefits that you can receive without going to go take any pill. Um, and I know for some of you, there's just no way I can do a 72-hour fast. Okay, do as much as you can. Because it was amazing. I was listening to a radio show here in DC this morning, and during that major snowstorm, I-95 was shut down for 25 hours. People were trapped on I-95 where they could not move. And people were talking about how they were starving and how people survived by people getting out of their car, sharing their oranges with people. But people could not believe that they can't go without food for a 24-hour period. It's programmed in their head. They believe they got to be eating 3 to 5 meals a day,
Yeah.
and that's just not what needs to happen. You hear Brian and I, and along with some others who do intermittent fasting, and the benefits of intermittent fasting are very much the same. You go at least 12 hours between meals, it's going to put your body in ketosis. You go 18 hours between meals, and your body's going to be in a fat burning mode, which because you've gone into ketosis, but it's really going to be burning fat then. If you go 24 hours, autophagy kicks in, 48 hours, growth hormones, and then 72 hours of fasting starts regenerating your cells. So you're basically becoming a new you, a new healthier you, just by abstaining away from food for 72 hours. But for a daily intermittent fasting, 12 to 16 hours, you're going to put yourself in a much better position health wise just by doing that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And Brian, you do 16 hours, right? You do about 16 hours a day.
My 16 hours minimum, but I always go past it. I mean, I tell myself once I get to 16, I have the option to eat after that, but I usually go 22 maybe.
Yeah, because once you eat once a day, right? One meal a day.
Yeah.
So you have take an hour, 2 hours to go through all the big 3-pound hunk of meat that you have.
Well, usually what happens is I get up and I do my workout and all that stuff, and then, somewhere around 20 hours or 18 to 20 hours, I'll come up and maybe make some coffee, and then I'll put butter in it, which I consider breaking my fast. A lot of people say it's not, but it is. So I really break my fast like that, and then a couple hours after that, I'll eat.
Right, right. Well, I just know that every time I've done a 72-hour fast, it's amazing. Like this is day 3 for me. I actually feel better. I feel stronger. My head's clearer. Um, I guess for some people I know that's not what you have benefits. Some people have issues. It brings issues out in you. But if you want to do it, start out doing a 12-hour fast. I mean, you sleep 8 hours a day, so you only really got to sustain while you're conscious and walking around 4 hours, and you should be able to do that. So but you'll be surprised how differently, and in my opinion, how better you would feel doing an extended fast and then introducing bone broth that non-GMO bone broth, that if you could do it yourself, that's the best way. Like I know
Really? Yeah.
Brian makes bone broth all the time, so do we. um Unfortunately, I'm out of beef bone broth. I only have a bunch of chicken and turkey bone broth left in a
Which is
container.
still good.
It's still, it's still good. That was one of the downers that happened. We had just got through having cooked a ham before the power went out. We had cooked the ham, and we were making ham soup. So we had put it all in the pot, put everything on there, and in the pressure cooker. the onions and all the seasoning and all that, and the power went out like 20 minutes or an hour into it. So it started cooking already, and then it went out. And so 6 days later, I had to throw it out. And I had to throw it out, threw it in the trash can that Sunday. And it was tough for me to throw that out, because that's when you got the whole bone, the ham bone, and all that collagen and all that good stuff that comes with it. It's just it's so your body just soaks that up. At least my body soaks it up. So
was it actually bad? Could you tell, or you just didn't want to take it?
I didn't. Well, Peggy didn't want to take the chance, and I went with that. She thought it was going to smell really bad because I've been sitting in the pressure cooker for a week. So she goes, "You take that outside and get rid of it." But when I opened it up, the smell, I almost wanted to still taste it. It sounds gross, but it smelled so good as I was dumping it into the trash.
It might have been. It might have been.
I know. In retrospect, I probably would not have thrown it out. I probably just plugged it back in and went for it. But I didn't. So we'll have to wait till next time. But all right, it's that time of the evening where we get a chance to check in with Mr. Brian Shanker of the MeatTribe YouTube channel for those meat deals of the week. So Brian, it's a new year, new deals. What do you got for us?
All right, good to see everybody. First up, we've got a couple of deals from Carnes out of Central PA. Their deals run through January 17th. They've got some choice grade boneless whole New York strips for $6.99 a pound. And if you want to buy them pre-cut, they've got the same choice grade boneless New York strips for $9.99 a pound. Food Lion, their deals run through the 18th of January. They've got choice grade bone-in T-bone steaks for $6.99 a pound. That's a pretty good price. And remember that the T-bone versus a porterhouse, the T-bone on the filet side is going to be smaller than on a porterhouse. So, but still, it's decent price for a good steak. And Harris Teeter. So we didn't record last week with you guys. We didn't do our recording last week. Harris Teeter only had one deal last week.
Wow.
So, I'm glad to see this week.
Well, you know why, right? At least why? Because up here their power went out, and so even Giant, and they had to get rid of all their meats and produce. They had to just scoop it off and ship it off someplace else. But anyway, go ahead. What deal do we have? What deal did they have last week, and what deal do we have this week?
Well, I'll skip last week's deal because it's no longer valid. So this week their deals run through. This week their deals run through the 18th of January. They've got some rancher grade boneless and choice grade boneless New York strips. So the rancher grade boneless New York strip value pack is $7.99 a pound, and the choice grade boneless New York strips are $8.99 a pound. They've got a small pack for $8.49 a pound, rancher grade. They've also got a single pack, boneless. The brand is Strauss grass-fed filet mignon steak. It's only a 5-ounce steak. It's per package $8.99. 5 ounces isn't very much, so I imagine that thing's going to be pretty small.
That's going to be a forkful. That's it.
But this is the lowest price I've seen on ground beef in a while. They've got some 80% lean ground chuck for $2.99 per pound and a limit of 4. If you go there, I haven't seen good deals on ground beef in quite a while, so $2.99 per pound. Kroger's got a couple of deals. They run through the 18th. They've got some choice grade boneless chuck roast at $4.99 a pound, and some choice grade boneless ribeye steaks for $12.99 a pound. I usually like paying less than $10, but $12.99 a pound if you're in a pinch, that's not too bad. And then the last deal, Giant Eagle, theirs runs through the 19th. They also have some 80% lean ground beef for $2.99 per pound.
Okay.
So
we haven't seen round beef in a while, so it's good to see that back up. Peggy and I was just talking about that. It's time for us to stock up for Slinky food. So I'm glad I'm seeing it on sale. That's awesome.
So you were talking about Harris Teeter before. So last week I reported on my channel, and I was going to talk about it with you guys. I had gone the previous Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to Harris Teeter to try to buy the chuck eye steaks that were on sale for $5.99 per pound.
Right.
Friday I went there, they didn't have them, and the meat cases they looked pretty sad. Not a lot of stuff in there. I went back Saturday because they told me that the truck would be emptied and they'd have it in stock. Saturday, the meat cases looked exactly the same, like nothing was stocked up. They still didn't have them. It took me 3 times ringing the bell for somebody to even come out. And then Sunday, I went back, rang the bell 3 times. Nobody came out. I had to go to the manager desk. They said that, if we get a truck, they unload it. They don't necessarily pack the cases out for everybody. And I said, well, it's been 3 days. The cases haven't changed. I went back there, they called back and got back there and the butcher was waiting. He still said, we're short staffed. He said they didn't unpack the truck yet. And it was pretty sad there. So I gave up. I couldn't go back four times in a row.
No.
So I didn't get the choice, the chuck eyes. And I'm a little hesitant to go back. I'm thinking maybe with all the sales that they had from Thanksgiving through Christmas, maybe they just weren't getting it, or the supply chains maybe are being affected with the new variant of COVID. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
what are you
I
guys
think.
seeing in your stores?
Well, I can just tell you, if I showed you pictures of what our Giant looked like, in Walmart, their shelves were bare. I mean, Giant had zero. Their shelves were totally closed, zero. I mean, just like a ghost town, including the main store. So not even just the meat and produce section, the aisles themselves were bare. Like they were collapsing the aisles just so you weren't going down aisles for no reason. It looked like a third world country. Same with Wally World. Wally World, the meat shelves, you may have 1 or 2 packets of meat here or there, but it looked like, a run on meat. So that's what was in my area. I don't know about Tennessee, because I know you guys got snow too, didn't you, Brian?
Yeah, it doesn't last as long here, but yeah, it's pretty sparse at Kroger. Not like you're describing though, but yeah, certain things there it hasn't been restocked. It's just been empty. But I just wanted to mention I went by there the other day, and I always check those little meat bins where they have the sale meat, and there was this huge like 18-pound brisket. 18 or 19, I forget exactly. I have it in the freezer downstairs. I couldn't resist it, but it was only one in there. It's weird because I'd been there a few days earlier. I didn't remember seeing any briskets then, but there was one brisket laying there, and it was like $2.99 a pound or something. So, it was beautiful too. It's like the perfect brisket, like the grain and all that stuff. It just looks so good. So I couldn't pass it up. I had to buy it.
Now, have
So
you smoked it yet?
No. So now I got like 4 or 5 briskets in my freezer down there. But I didn't want to. It's weird because I'll buy this meat and I don't really want to freeze it because it's so nice and it's when it's not frozen yet. But I knew I wasn't going to get to it anytime soon, so I just stuck it in there.
Well, at least you have food when you need it, though. That's the nice thing.
Yeah, my freezer is nice and stocked up right now. So hopefully my power doesn't go off anytime soon.
Yeah, let's hope not. Let's hope
Knock on
not.
wood.
Yeah. Brian Shanker, so have you used your sous vide or done any other projects lately?
No, haven't done anything recently. The last thing I did was that pork butt. But actually, I'm going to sous vide a couple of chicken breasts for the kids today. And I did go out to Harris Teeter the other week and got another pork butt. So I've got another pork butt and two chuck roasts lined up to do the smoker next. So those are going to be the next projects for me.
Awesome.
Nice.
We'll look forward to reporting to us and how they turn out.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks so much for giving us those deals of the week. And for those who are looking for an edge to make your budget go a little bit further, tune into the MeatTribe YouTube channel for other deals, and other people commenting as well, giving their deals that they're coming across. So make sure you check them out this week. Save you some money, and any saved money can be used to buy more meat. So just know you can that's your new health plan there. Following the meat deals.
Yeah, you can never have too much meat.
No.
All right, Brian. Well, hey, have a good week. We'll see you next Friday. Thanks for coming on.
All right, thanks. Take care, guys.
All right, we'll see you. What projects, food projects have you been working on? I know you've been cooking a lot of ribeyes lately, and so what else you got cooking, Brian?
Yeah, it's hard for me, now that Shannon's around, and so I'm cooking for two people. So I don't really get to experiment as much as I used to. And a lot of times I've sort of gotten it down to, really simple for myself, just because, I don't know, it's like, because I used to always have the ribeye and eggs and bacon, like all this stuff together. And I've noticed that a lot of times I just like just the meat, just to eat the ribeye, and I'm fine. I did do the eggs and bacon. When was it? Yesterday? I forget. Oh no, that was well, this is Wednesday, so it would have been Tuesday. I did the burger, but Monday I think I did a steak, but it was a smaller ribeye. So I saw you
make Shannon a keto pizza.
Yeah.
How'd that turn out? How did that turn out?
Oh, it smells good. I don't eat it because I put veggies on hers, and I can't handle. I love pizza, but I can't handle tomato sauce. It tears me up. But yeah, well, this one, it was weird because we went to the store, and normally I'll make the crust myself, but she saw this. Let me see. I have it right here.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, I know that stuff. Yeah, you get that at Aldi's, or at least they sell it at Aldi's. Yeah, egg wrap.
Yeah.
Or they sell it at Costco too.
Yeah, but it's paper thin, so I made it a couple layers thick for her crust because she said, well, I want to try like a thin, crispy crust, but of course it wasn't crispy once I piled all that stuff on there. but those pizzas, they look great.
They look really good. What I found out with those type of crusts, I usually will coat it with butter and garlic and Italian seasoning, and I'll cook that crust in the oven before I put any toppings on it, and then I'll bring it back out and I'll put the toppings and I'll put it back on, because then it gives me more of that crispiness that I'm looking for, that probably Shannon's looking for too.
Well, I did it in a skillet. I did it with ghee, so I kind of fried it first and then put it on the baking sheet. So it was crispy around the edges at least, and it seemed crispy before I put the sauce and everything.
Right. It looked delicious. I mean, the pictures on it. I love keto pizza, so.
Yeah, but after you bake it and all that stuff soaks in, it's not crispy anymore.
Yeah, it gets soggy again. Yeah. I tell you what, I do miss the day. If there's one food that I do miss, a staple that I miss in my life, it is really New York style pizza. Like like I've said many times, I used to live off of pizza, and I love waking up in the morning with a cold piece of pizza and just eating it. There's just something about it, but I've gotten over it. I make my keto pizza on occasions, but as I told Peggy, I think this month of January, I'm definitely going to go straight carnivore and eat nothing but meat. So meat and eggs, that's probably going to be it.
Yeah. Well, when I first started making those pizzas for her, I made myself one. Just using ground beef and bacon, or it didn't have any of the veggies that hers has on it, and it was good. The only thing was it was the tomato sauce. Like later that night, I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have ate that. This heartburn, and it always does that to me, which is a bummer because I love it.
Yeah, that's how I'm beginning to come to the hard realization of heavy whipping cream. Like during this fast, I have had none of it, and I feel so much better. But when I have that heavy whipping cream, I do notice, I feel a little bloated. It definitely inflames me.
Yeah.
And I just got to, finally make that realization. Do I want to keep going, living that lifestyle of inflaming my body, or do I just want to eliminate the poison that's causing my body to be inflamed?
Right. And that's the other thing about the pizza. It's all that cheese involved is not doesn't agree with me either. I wake up and my rings are stuck, and it's like
Well, with that being said, we want to appreciate everybody tuning in with us this Friday. We're sorry that we missed you guys last Friday, but I had no way of even recording the show, much least editing the show. So I was trying to figure every way I could, because it bothers me that we could keep the string going, and I didn't want to miss the show. But Brian and I actually have a canned show we recorded that I could have loaded up, but I couldn't even load it up because I had no internet connection. So
that's true.
so anyway, but with that being said, Brian, all the stuff we discussed, what bit of advice would you give somebody who's looking at this and, all right, what's one thing I could do to improve my health? What bit of advice would you give them?
I would say eat your meat.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do this afternoon to break my fast. So everybody, stay safe, stay well, stay out of the hospital, and we'll see you guys next Friday. Take care, everybody.